Let's see if the folks can hear me this time. Okay, let's see. Well, I'll get right back into what I was discussing. The stages of grief are not linear. So when you are grieving your the version of yourself that you were told you needed to be, it's so important that you give yourself grace to move through it all. Give yourself grace to feel all of the feelings. Give yourself grace where others will not give you grace, because that's a part of letting that good girl persona go. Let me know if y'all can hear me. But a part of letting that go is detaching from the need for others to validate your experience. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Okay, perfect. But detaching from the need for others to validate your experience, because when you go through the anger of, I've been lied to, I've spent all of this time building this life, building this idea of who I am, and it really isn't me, and all of the things. When you go through where it all came from, the church, the parents, the schools, the books, all of the things, the media, the societal programming, and you feel that anger, people are going to call you crazy. People are going to say that you are tripping. People are going to feel whatever they feel about your process as well. But a part of letting that persona go is recognizing that you don't need anyone to validate how you feel. You know your truth. And it's okay for you to feel angry. It's okay for you to be ready to burn some bridges, because what you learn, and I can speak for myself here, what you learn in the process of letting go of all of the illusions that you have been living under is recognizing your power to actually create. Where we have been taught, oh, never burn a bridge, you never know when you're going to need to cross it again. When you let go of that illusion, you learn that you can swim. You learn that there is another way across that water. You learn you might be a daggone waterbender. And when you peel back all of the layers that you've been told to be, you reveal yourself to yourself. But in order to do that, you have got to be willing to look crazy. You have got to be willing to be misunderstood. The good girl is not misunderstood, though. The good girl does what everybody tells her to do. She falls in line. She complies. She listens. She not only listens, she takes heed, whether it's for her or not, because they must know better than I know. But when you decide to release that performance, you become the one who is misunderstood. You become the one who folks are gossiping about behind your back. You become the one who they're like, what is she on? What is she doing? What is she talking about? She don't know what she talking about. That girl is crazy. That woman is. You become the angry black woman. You become, oh, she's too aggressive. Oh, she, all of that. And sometimes, oh, she's being too quiet. You get to a place where you hold so much space for you that it doesn't matter what space someone else holds for you or denies you, because their space don't matter. It's about you having the capacity to hold yourself when they don't understand. Am I willing to understand myself? When it looks crazy to everybody else, when it looks wild to everybody else, when it looks whatever it looks. In Meg's situation, when it looks uh slut and whore and all of this other stuff, when it looks like that to everybody else, are you willing to accept yourself? Are you willing to hold space for who you are, all of who you are? Because guess what? I say all the time, God did not make ass jiggle for it to just sit still. Period. I don't care what people say. If that was the case, he would have made your butt like your knees. I'm just saying. We are beautiful and voluptuous and shapely for a reason, for the cause of movement. Okay? Let yourself move. And when you unchain yourself from the performance of being good, you get to be real. You get to be authentic. You get to be aligned. You get to be in motion, in authentic motion, in actual flow. I used to, when I was coaching, I used to have women all the time. How do I get to flow? How am I able to flow? You cannot flow when you are keeping yourself under control. The women are out of control. That is the whole point of me naming this series the way that I did, to ignite and remind us that we are not supposed to be controlled. We are not supposed to be moving through life in a straight line. We are supposed to be in flow. And being in flow means being willing to let go, being willing to connect, being open to all of the experiences life is bringing you, all of the changes life is bringing you, opening yourself up to all of the gifts that you have been given, just like water, actually. And water is not allowing anything or anybody to judge it. Water will boil you, water will flood you, water will nourish you, water will feed the land. Water can be all. And woman can be all. Woman is all. But we have to allow ourselves to release the program that we've been performing. And a lot of times that comes with grief. It just does. And sometimes we try to skip over the grief. We try to skip over the part that makes you cry. We try to skip over that, but that's your water. Your tears are your water. The sobbing, that's your water. You so angry you could spit, that's your water. And we are suppressing and holding all of those things in. And a lot of times in the stages, you get to a point, you obviously bargaining is in there, where you're back in a place where you're asking yourself, what is it about me that I need to fix? There must be something about me that I can fix, especially when you go through that anger stage and you scare yourself and your shadows scare you, and the real you that you have been suppressing all of those years, however long, decades for some of us, is so intense, or she does not actually care. Sometimes you get to a point where you're like, dang, I thought I cared about all of these things, but I really don't. None of it actually matters to me. That can be scary. Getting to a point where none of the things that used to matter anymore. And then we can get into this space of depression, where you realize that there is no going back. You realize sometimes when we're bargaining, we go back and pick the mess back up. I've done that. I've done that in business. I've done that in relationships. We go back and pick the mess back up and say, well, maybe this time, maybe it was the timing last time. Maybe it was the lane that I was driving in. Maybe that's the issue. And you go pick it back up and you see it's still not, it's still a lie. It's still a lie. And you finally have to accept the reality. That can be a full, for me, ego death. Because I had, listen, I was talking to my sons today, I was required to be a straight A student. No matter what trauma, drama, and chaos I was dealing with outside of school, my mother still expected straight A's all the time. And so that programming created a version of me that felt like I had to do everything, not only perfectly, but the hard way perfectly. And deconstructing, deconstructing that was like, what? What? Who am I? Who am I? What is this? And that emptying that was required, for me, it did feel like depression. Absolutely. I started therapy during that time because I just was absolutely like, what is happening right now? I've done everything right. I followed the rules. I did the things. I've hit the goals. I've done the milestones. And it's still, what is happening? Getting to a point where we finally accept living someone else's version of reality is not going to work. Living someone else's truth is not going to work. Living for other people's approval and validation is not going to work. And just sitting in that. Because in that, sometimes we don't know what will work, though. Has this all been in vain? But when you allow yourself to empty out, I think about it like moving out. When you're moving out, you get to go through, if you give yourself this space, you get to go through your possessions, the things that you have gained and gathered over the years, the things that you've acquired, and decide what still matters, what is going to still serve me going forward, and what no longer serves me. That time can be used to build what it is that you're looking for, if you are willing to do the foundational work in that time. When you've reached rock bottom, you have a blank canvas to build a new foundation. And you don't have to hop right into building. You don't have to hop right into knowing. Being able to sit with uncertainty will save you. It will save you from falling in. Y'all know I tell my cult story on here quite a bit. It will save you from falling into shit like cults. And they're popping up everywhere right now. There are cults of personality, cults of religion, all kinds of cults going on right now. It will save you being able to sit with uncertainty. Because when we join cults, join religions, get into relationships that we should not be in, work jobs and go into industries that we should not be in, a lot of times we are just seeking certainty and solid ground and some stability. And when you sit with yourself, you remember who you are. You are woman, you are source intelligence. You can birth and bring forth anything. You can create anything that you desire, including a network of love. Someone said cults give us stability. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is, in general, people who, no one is seeking out a cult. No one wakes up and says, today I'm going to join a cult. But the people who are most susceptible to joining cults are dealing with instability in their lives. And what the cult promises is certainty. The cult promises community. We have a dress code. We have a dietary code. We have this book that we follow, or this, whatever the doctrine is that we follow, and it will get you, A will get you B. If you follow our doctrine and you do everything that we're telling you, then you will get the cult that I was in. It was all about getting the kingdom. You will get the kingdom. Stability. You have a family that abandons you, neglects you, doesn't understand you. It's okay. We have a family for you over here. And everybody believes the same thing. And everybody has the same conversation. And everybody understands you over here. But then what you realize, you're going to go through the process of realizing that they too have They get the performance. They understand my mask. They don't understand the real me. And a lot of times in those spaces, there's no room for you to be the real you. You'll get kicked out for being the real you. So it reinforces the programming of, if you be good, you will have connection and care. So can we conclude freedom is not certainty? Absolutely. Freedom is not certainty. Freedom is not, reality is not certainty, which is why we seek it out so much. The reality is, certainty is an illusion. Certainty is an illusion. Change is the real reality. Change is the real constant. And our capacity to navigate and manage change is what really determines how good we are at life, not your ability to comply. So, those are my thoughts. So there were 5 stages of grief, but now there are 7 stages of grief, which I really like 7 better than 5, because there are some stages that are kind of liminal. Like after depression, they've added a stage called testing. And this is where you're starting to look at, okay, I've emptied myself, and I'm just speaking in terms of, I'm not speaking in terms of losing a person, losing a loved one, or anything like that. But when you have lost yourself and you're coming back to yourself, and you're realizing, not only sometimes are you really realizing that you lost yourself, you're realizing that you've never even had the opportunity to know yourself in this life, because you've been being programmed to perform since you could walk and talk. You've been being programmed to be good since you could walk and talk. So it's definitely deeper than, oh, I'm just trying to be a good woman to get a man, or, oh, I'm trying to be this certain kind of woman to have this certain kind of job or lifestyle or whatever. It starts way earlier than that. Then you move into testing, and you're asking yourself, okay, now that I'm empty, who am I now? What is real for me now? And realizing in that testing that you have the power to create yourself, that you can birth yourself, which is just so beautiful. And you can birth the life that you see for yourself, and not only for yourself, but for the collective. You can be the light. This is where you actually tap into your light and your purpose. Sometimes we're moving in parts of the process, but we haven't yet made it to, what am I actually here for? The process can be you peeling away. The process can be you discovering, I've been living a lie this whole time. The process can be you realizing that what was true for your mother, what was true for your grandmother, what was true for the church is not true for you. Then you can move into, okay, what is my purpose? What am I actually? Sometimes your whole purpose in this life is remembering who you are. And we have been taught that everybody's purpose is to serve others. Everybody's purpose is not to serve others. Some of us have spent enough time serving others, and your actual purpose is bringing that service to yourself. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but many times the real work in the season you're in is filling your cup up, for real. Learning what it takes to fill your cup. You might have been filling your cup with Kool-Aid this whole time, but what you really need is a fresh pressed juice. What does that take? Okay. So getting into that, the stage where you are willing to try new things, explore deeper parts of yourself, deal with your shadows, integrate those shadows, recognize the pieces of yourself that other people have rejected that you actually love and accept. And then moving through to the acceptance where you are now able to move forward, having grieved who you were, having grieved the time lost, having grieved the goals lost, and able to move into and create what is next for you. or what you want to see now, because we are always in the present. What do you want to see now? Who are you now? So I hope this has been supportive. Trusting God says this is great insight. I definitely appreciate that. Thank y'all so much for being here, even through the audio difficulties a little earlier. It'll go up in two parts, I believe. So hopefully it saves, because that first part was really, really good. I'm totally open to y'all sharing in the comments conversations that you would like for us to have. I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of things. So, and I've been feeling lately like it is time for me to come back into the space and start sharing my thoughts on things again. Um, Lots is going on in the world, lots is being revealed, especially for women, not just for women, but also the divine feminine in men. I'm seeing a ton of men tap into their divine feminine, tap into their creative power, and start to reshape and deconstruct all that they have been told that they need to be as well. So it's not just about women as in the physical body of a woman, but also the divine feminine is rising, and the illusions that we have been taught to believe about ourselves, about the world, are dissolving. And it's very important that we don't get um, wrapped up in the dissolution, because so often what we're seeing happen is something that has been going on. This has been falling apart for decades now. This was never meant to last forever. And by getting wrapped up in everything falling apart, we lose our place in creating what comes next. So we then allow the powers that be, the powers that are ceasing to be, to put their imprint and their definitions and their creations on what comes next. We're all waking up now for a reason, so that we do not repeat the bullshit, so that we don't do this again. And now is the time for us to be willing to let go of all of the structures that have held up this very toxic version of society, and trust. This is why going through the stages of grief are so important, because in that process, you learn to trust yourself. In that process, you learn that loss is not the last of you, that you are stronger than the things that you are losing, than the feeling of losing those things. And you can rise again. You can regenerate. You can restore. You can revive. But when we don't let ourselves go through it, when we don't let ourselves feel through it, we end up suppressing even more. And when we suppress things, when we don't address our needs, when we don't know ourselves or allow ourselves to know ourselves, we do not trust ourselves. Period. I get women all the time asking me, yeah, how do I trust myself? Get to know yourself. Get to know the ugly, get to know the pretty, have a conversation. And in the ease experience, and I used to have a program called the Princess Process, where because I'm a believer that a queen is made, but a lot of times we have not processed the princess in our life that still wants to be a child, that still wants to be submissive, that still wants to be under the rule of someone else. So processing through that and allowing yourself to rise, allowing yourself to become the whole woman that you're designed to be, the grown woman that you're designed to be. So many times we have not allowed the little girl version of ourselves to rest, so that we can step into the higher version of ourselves. I don't like to say kill your younger self, and because that's crazy. Kill your inner child. You need to kill your inner, like, what is the, why would I do that? Why would I do that? But we do need to allow these versions of ourselves that have been carrying the weight for so long to rest and to put their tools down so we can pick up new tools to move our lives forward. So I'm not gonna hold y'all all night because y'all know I can talk. But I do again love hearing your thoughts, your suggestions in the comments on what conversations we should have here going forward. As things come up in the culture, feel free to ask me how I feel about them because I don't mind sharing my thoughts. But y'all have an amazing, amazing night. Give yourself the time and space to investigate who you really are, what you have believed, whether it's still true for you, and to release and grieve those things so that you can open yourself up, empty yourself to be filled with who you really are. I love y'all. I hope to see y'all soon, and I'll talk to you later.